Hi Scorpio, let's have a look at your astrology for the new moon, and then I'm going to do a tarot spread. So we have a new moon coming up on the 21st of January for New Zealand and Australia, and the 22nd for the rest of the world. New moons are they're like an imprint of energy for the month, and so what you're looking at here is the chart for this new moon. So the energy lasts until the next new moon, which is around the 19th, 20th of February. So we're covering this period of time. So for this new moon, Scorpio, you have the sun moon sitting in your fourth sector. Your fourth sector is all about your home situation. It's all about what you're doing from the home, and so the focus is going to be on the home, especially with your sun and the moon sitting there. This is being conjuncted, this new moon, by Pluto. So as you can see with the chart, we've got the sun moon sitting in Aquarius and Pluto sitting at the last degrees of Capricorn, sun moon sitting at 3 degrees. So we've got a conjunction of about 4 degrees. Now when we have sun Pluto, moon Pluto conjunction, this is there's a strong emphasis on our sense of our own personal power with the sun Pluto. It's also a time when we can step up into more powerful positions or take more control in our lives. It's also a time when we can feel a bit squashed or a bit controlled. So depending on your circumstances, on how that's going to work. With the moon Pluto combinations, this is more of an inner pull. So the Pluto is pulling on our inner world, on our emotions, and so this can give us an extreme expression of feeling. This can be a result of sometimes emotional outbursts, but in a positive light. And moon Pluto often is where we find a real drive and passion towards certain things, certain interests. And so moon Pluto is like almost becoming very passionate, sometimes fanatical about a certain subject or a certain area, and sometimes to the exclusion of other interests. So it's where our focus is fully on a particular goal or objective, or a particular area of interest. Moon Pluto is also about connecting to our sensitive side, our spiritual psychic side. It gives psychometric gifts and psychic experiences which can happen around this time. Now Pluto is sitting in your third sector, your sector relative to your siblings, but also your friendships. It's also on how you communicate. So there's going to be some really good, with Pluto been sitting in your third for quite a while. Things could be up and down around family sometimes. But with the Sun Jupiter, it's more like a coming together. It's more like a connecting up and sharing more, especially with the Sun Moon in the fourth sector. You might find that you have relatives, family, siblings coming to stay. There's also your neighbours sometimes. There could be some connections made there, or there could be some troubling neighbour situations going on with Pluto there. Arguments about boundary lines and so forth. But with this, third sector, it's pretty much, it's the people that you don't really have to deal with all the time, but they are sort of in your life or in your environment. So with this Sun, Moon, Pluto, it's really powerful because it's squaring the node. So we've got it doing a square, a 90-degree angle to the South Node and the North Node. Now the South Node is all about where you've been, as in your lifetimes you've accumulated, your gifts, your abilities, your connections you've made, and what you're bringing into this lifetime. And your North Node is about why you've come here. It's all about where you're going, what you're wanting to achieve while you're here. So a lot of that, has to do with connections, of course, and the node is all about your associations, your connections. It can be your family, your friends, your partner. It's about relationships on all levels. So this is sitting, these are sitting in powerful points for Scorpio this month and next month. So you've had it anyway, sitting in your first and your seventh for quite a while. Your South Node sitting in your seventh is sort of indicating, more so making connections that have been very important to other lifetimes and possibly very healing for you. So, it's been a journey, I would say, over the last sort of 2 years of making, strong, important connections in your life. And then you've got the North Node, which is about where you're going, and it's sitting in the 7th sector of partnerships. So these connections are going to lead you to partnerships ultimately. And if you're already in a partnership, it's sort of indicating that there's going to be some fortunate and fated changes going on around your circumstances with people and partnerships. This could mean that if you're in an existing marriage or permanent situation, a connection that's important to both of you can come in and make some really positive changes. There could be some changes in living arrangements as well during this time with it to connecting back to the 4th house. So, but for those that are on their own, the node in the 7th is a perfect time to be making connections. And, with Pluto squaring this node, fated connections are coming in. And, it may not be this month, even though it is being triggered by the Sun Moon. There could be some really, like I said, important connections that are leading you to this, even if it's to do with new friendships being made from the past that are leading you to your future connections. But also, it's just a very powerful time because, like I said, this has been happening for a while, but it's when these inner planets are triggering it. So there also could, this, because it's going on all year, relationships can be formed at any time this year, but these are the trigger points when things important towards those relationships can happen. So Mercury, which is stationary, it's been retrograde, it's going direct, it's sitting in a stationary position until it moves forward in 2 days' time. Well, it goes direct in 2 days, but it's still stationary really for the whole week. Now that's squaring Jupiter, which is really fortunate because it means we get a really long Mercury square Jupiter. And squares can be challenges, but Mercury-Jupiter is an extremely positive, productive combination. It's when the mind and productive energy come together to create solutions for for creating more expansion and growth in the areas that you're wanting. Mercury-Jupiter can relate to agreements with others, can relate to paperwork being signed, and with it in your 3rd and 6th sector, this could actually have quite a good influence on your work, or there could be some news or information relative to where your career is going in a much larger scale, in a much bigger way. Where expansion and growth can come into your everyday work situation. But with Mercury there, it's it's like quite often you could be signing a contract, or you could be signing positive legal documents that go in your favour of one form or another. But again, with the 3rd and the 6th, I feel like it's strongly about work and also about connections and friendships. You have there's a Venus-Saturn conjunction going on. So you've got the Sun Moon sitting there in the 4th, and Saturn's been in the 4th, and Venus is joining it right now. I say right now, well, it is actually conjunct now, but it's exact on the at the time of this new moon. And with Venus conjunct Saturn in the 4th, that's when you're going to be seriously looking at relationships for commitment, and looking at relationships in a way of who could you actually live with if you're on your own. But you may also be thinking about property and property change. It's also when you may have some considerations around your finances with Saturn. Venus is also, it's love, but it's also about our money and our finances. So Saturn there, it's sort of saying, it's making it a bit hard for things to flow. And even around relationships, it can be sometimes a cooling down feeling when things have been quite heated in connections. But with Venus Saturn, it's like you either want to make a commitment or you don't, and this is like where Venus Saturn is really clear about that. So in some ways it can be separation if there's a situation that feels it's not productive, but in other ways it's going to be more commitment situation. And again, it could just be that you're in a partner, if you're already with someone, taking on more property or new situations, but you're really seriously considering your finances and whether you can do it or not. So this could just be something you're considering during this time and not necessarily taking action on just at that point. Sun is squaring Uranus, and that happens at the beginning of February. So around the 2nd of February, when the Sun squares Uranus, this is actually when you're going to get sudden news of change. Now again, this is around your home and around your partnerships. So Sun Uranus is, it brings us into new circumstances, but it's often relative to things happening quickly, new growth comes in, means you can sort of move forward with that square. And in the fourth sector, again, the home, and then your relationship sector, saying that new relationships could come in quite quickly, or there could be sudden changes around relationships, or even just sudden changes that you are making with your partner, and that's around the home situation, or even around your partnership situation, like you might be getting married this month, or making plans, or getting engaged. Sort of like a it comes in sudden, and it's excitement, and it's something to share with others. So exciting news. So around the 10th, there's a Mercury conjunct Pluto. So the Pluto, it's sitting in your third sector, and Pluto sort of conjuncting your third to fourth sector. So it is going to mean big changes are coming for your home situation, that are going to be quite transformative. It's going to transform your whole home, what you consider to be home for you, and what you're really wanting from the home situation during that time. Now I'm talking over the next sort of 8 years. So that's not immediate, but Mercury is going to come up and conjunct Pluto in that fourth sector, and this could be a time when you come up with really big plans for your future to do with property and to do with home. With that Mercury Pluto also, it seems to be involving others, and there'll be like a convincing others of ideas, presenting ideas, ideas and opportunities on a large scale is what you're looking at with that Mercury Pluto. But it's also a time when you can really have a real clear picture of the changes that you're wanting to make and what's going to work for you. So the whole theme for for this new moon, of course, is this Pluto node, fated connections coming in and changing our life. And of course, this is a theme that's going on all year. But with the sun moon, it's sort of wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot going on in January to do with others. The other strong energy that's standing out for this month is Uranus, as it goes from stationary to direct, and it's happening exactly on this new moon. No coincidence, I don't feel. I feel that this is going to be like a month, for next 4 weeks, I should say, of expect the unexpected. Sudden changes can come in quite quickly, and especially for Scorpio, especially around partnerships, you could find that there's new energy coming in for relationships, and even existing relationships. It's, it could be recycling of old relationships into a new feeling that is more exciting and interesting, and sort of bigger plans for the future. So Scorpio, I'm going to have a look at your tarot for the next 4 weeks, and let's see what comes up. Mars is in your 8th sector. It's gone direct now, but it's been going back and forth over your 8. It's been your 8 for quite a while. This has been a long time, and we'll go back to August last year, of purging, of releasing the things that you no longer need. Now, Scorpio should know all about that. That's what the Scorpio sign's about. It's about experiencing, going to a full, deep experience of something, pulling oneself out of that, and then actually releasing it all so that you can move forward. And, each time you come out more transformed, with new growth. But with Mars there, it's like, there'll be things that come up for you and frustrations that come up for you, but it's like you can just release them, and understanding that, this is preparation for you to really move forward once it moves into your 9th sector. That's when you're going to experience a lot more freedom, especially in your working situation. If you're feeling like, you really like to change what you do, or you like your work to evolve into a better situation, that's coming. But it's going to be more indicative for May. When you're feeling that freedom. I mean, there's still a lot going on before then for you guys, but in May, I feel like that's when you're going to go, I just absolutely love what I'm doing. This is perfect. Okay, so we are just looking at the next 4 weeks. See what's in your 6th house, because work's come up already, Mercury, Jupiter. Yeah, new opportunities have come up for your career. And so I think that either new positions for some or an increase and added opportunities for skills, you know, like a new position, a better position coming up, but it could even be in the same place in where you're working. And for others, it could be a whole new thing. One thing I can guarantee, you're going to be making a lot more money than you have been. I'm not saying you have been struggling, but this is sort of saying there's a much better money flow in the future. So more favourable situations for Scorpio financially in the future, where they can actually spend more too, and attain more. But this is all relative to working for it at this point in time. Like I said, we're only talking about this next month. But yes, definitely a new energy, a bit of financial energy for the Scorpio. So there's something unexpected coming that you know, this is that Uranus energy I was talking about, and it seems to be means that it's going to put you into a whole new situation, a whole new way of seeing things in some respects, but also it's going to give you so much more security. So even though this is sort of coming in a very sort of unexpected way, in a sudden way, it is actually all about having more security but doing new things. That looks really good. So, you know, you've got a bigger picture here going on. You know what you're wanting to achieve. You are in a new cycle, so you are probably thinking, when is this change going to happen? There might be something here that you're already waiting for, because it's sort of saying that you came into this new cycle, you know, in the past, you know, possibly, I think, you know, last year, actually, at the end of last year, and, you know, and thinking, when's it going to happen for me? And it is coming in. So there seems to be what you're doing, but not just what you're doing by yourself, what you're doing with others. There seems to be other female connections, or, you know, for men it could be male connections, but it's like brotherhood or sisterhood connections here that you get on really well with, that you've got this vision or plan, and it's about helping others. This is about you know, whether it's a humanitarian project or, you know, something that is going to be beneficial for either people or animals. And I always include animals because, you know, and even sometimes the environment, because all these things are beneficial for people anyway. Not everyone is a people person here to work with people, but there's lots that we can do to be of assistance, whether it's to do with the community, whether it's to do with us as a collective whole, as a humanitarian, as a race. But, you know, that's where I'm coming from, is that you want to do something that you feel is more your purpose, more meaningful, and, you know, where you feel like you're helping this evolutional space that we're in right now, and you're helping to, you know, helping the situation. There's a bit of resistance here. I don't know quite what this is about. I'll just explain it. It's like a little bit of resistance to authority. I don't know quite what that means. Meaning it's almost like, I'm going to do it my way, and somebody else is trying to tell me how to do it, and you're just going, no, I want to do it my way. Now, this is actually saying you're going to be do it working with others, but you are going to get to do your ideas your way. And, you know, for some, they might just go, no, I don't want to be in a role, in a position where I'm under the thumb of someone else, or under the control issue definitely seems to be coming up here, and that sitting in that 3rd and 4th position and moving into your 4th eventually. Yeah, I think you're not going to set yourself up for a situation where you're not in charge of things. So, you know, that might just be something that you're just not getting, you know, you're not either prepared for, or you're just saying no to, you're resistant to, is what I'm trying to say. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not meant to be resistant. It's sort of saying that this is important. It's important that you recognize who you are, and you know if something's wrong for you. So I think that's just there's a little bit of a test, because it's like you've got more opportunities to be a lot more independent and be working with teams and be working with people, but as long as you can do that individually, you're going to be happy. Otherwise, there could be situations where you just feel like this isn't going to work. So you're wanting to make a change, and you know, you're just wondering whether this is the right change to make as it comes up. I think you know, only you know that, because you know what's going to work for you, and it's like, well, where you can see yourself. I think the clue with this is, can you see yourself there? And Do you feel this is how you're going to get ahead? And I think the answer to both of these things are yes, regardless to the situations. Even if you've been working for yourself and now it means you're moving into a situation where you have to take orders from others, you know, like yes, that may be an issue, but it's like only you are going to know what is going to be right for you. So you've got to look at the opportunity, the productivity, and you've got to be honest with yourself and go, what have I been thinking and feeling for the last 6 months? Have I been wanting this to come in? Have I been happy with my situation? Because, you know, I feel like the changes that are coming to you are fated to happen. They are definitely a lot more productive. Like I said, this is a much more productive month where you're going to get a lot more business, where you're going to get a lot more work come in, and a lot more financial growth. So any Scorpios that are wanting to look at, you know, purchasing property or rebuying, selling, you know, this seems like the time to be doing that. And I guess with all this going on in the fourth sector, that would make sense. I'm not seeing a physical move at this point. I'm seeing it more as, you know, relative to assets and to what you have. So yeah, it's a good month for Scorpio. You do have some exciting news going on. You don't really have any difficulties here because I think, you know, in your mind you're clear about who you are and what you want to do, and the opportunity is coming in and you're just going to grab it and run with it. So I hope you enjoyed that, Scorpio, and you have a great day. Bye.